I do think that the end of the cost of living crisis is coming. I do think that inflation, when the number comes out for July next week, will be far better. I think it will start with a 6 rather than 7.9 now. But let's just have a look at the data we're going to see next week. So the question is, are real wages going to go up? That's wages after inflation. Now, the latest numbers show that wages rose 6.9% between March and May compared to March to May 2022. So they're almost 7% up. That's across public and private sector wages. And we get that updated wage data next Tuesday, the 15th of August. That'll be a pretty big day. We know that the CPI inflation, the consumer price index, is 7.9% during the year to June. That was down from 8.7% during the year to May, so a sizable reduction. It didn't stop the Bank of England raising interest rates, they did it. And the July inflation figure comes out next Wednesday, the 16th of August. So we're going to get those two bits of data. And I reckon that when that data comes out, I reckon the wage number will be roughly where it is, so 6.97, something like that. But I think, crucially, the inflation number will have gone down from 7.9. I think it will start with a 6. And I think it will be something like 6.4, 6.5.
How often are you usually right?
Well, I've been pretty much on the money in terms of when inflation was, I mean, I was writing there's going to be a massive inflation surge in March 2020. And I was literally ridiculed at the Bank of England's press conference a few months later. But that's turned out to be roughly right.
And Liam, when the Bank of England said that this would be transient inflation, that it would all go away very quickly...
Transitory, old boy, transitory.
Right, transitory.
Yeah.
You called them out on that.
Yeah, big time.
And you were right then. Why do you think that inflation will fall by more than a percentage point now? That's more than it's fallen for the last few months.
Because, Tom, it's a good question, because of the energy price cap coming down, because of energy costs in general, and because I look very closely, it's become very trendy to look at core inflation. That's inflation without energy and food, and we've been talking about it a lot. I have much more faith in what's called the producer price index. That's data on the prices experienced by firms when they produce the goods and the services that they then sell to us. And producer price inflation, Tom, has collapsed. There are measures of consumer price, producer price inflation in the UK now that are actually negative.
Wow.
So producer prices are actually coming down compared to a year ago. And that's partly through energy, partly through freight shipping costs have come down, partly through some raw materials. You know, you talk to people in the building trade, as I do all the time. I'm from a long line of Irish builders, right? Timber prices, they've come down a lot. Scrap metal prices, they've come down a lot. The Baltic Dry Exchange, which is a global measure of shipping, transportation and insurance costs, that's come down a lot. So I think for all these reasons, we're going to get a cumulative effect, and I think we're going to see inflation starting with a 6. Not a 5, but a 6. And then that will be